Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FitPro doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FitPro? This is the FitPro Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.
The 3 W's for effortless revision.
Welcome to season number 9 FitPro Sessions.
Season number 9, episode 1.
Welcome back.
Ooh,
I am
yeah.
excited for this.
It's exciting.
We've had 4 weeks off now and I feel really energized and ready to go. And first and foremost, apologies that season 9 is a couple of weeks late, but I'm guaranteed you're going to love it.
Yes.
It's going to be cool.
And season 9, the reason why I'm so excited is season 9's a little bit different.
Yes.
You have 2 per week now.
2 FitPro sessions every week.
Yeah, and as we go through those, they are slightly different, but they are both still really appropriate for every kind of FitPro and trainee FitPro, whether you're whether you're learning or you're already qualified or you've been in the industry for years.
Yeah. So the Tuesday session is going to be about revision, but that revision doesn't necessarily mean anatomy and physiology or nutrition or principles of exercise. I want to see the Tuesday FitPro session episode more about revision or studying as a whole. So that might be, maybe you've been a veteran FitPro for many years and you just enjoy reading. Maybe you enjoy learning via video, watching YouTube or reading articles or reading journals. It doesn't matter. Or listening to podcasts. So the Tuesday FitPro session is all about how do you progress the 6 inches from your right ear to your left ear and have the time and space and energy to make sure that revision or study takes place.
That's it. I like that. And then the Thursday one is literally a deep dive into the world of FitPros.
Yes.
So it's much more about those that are already qualified as FitPros and looking at the challenges that are faced, but also celebrating some of the specific knowledge that people have.
Completely. So we're going to get guest learners, guest speakers on to the Thursday show as well. And we're just going to go down the rabbit hole on particular topics. And there's no... I'm not going to say that there's a theme to that either. So one Thursday we might jump into the nuts and bolts of planning a warm-up. And then the next week we might have a guest speaker on where we talk about our relationship with food, for example. Yeah. And the following Thursday might do a complete U-turn and talk about a particular type of client or something to do with business. So the Thursday episode or the Thursday FitPro session is more geared towards... Well,
it's a great chance to be led by you as well. So you can send in your requests of particular questions you have or particular interests you have that you would like us to tackle. But again, it's about growing and progressing as a FitPro. But now we're looking
FitPro
at
sessions is, right?
It's what it's about. So it just allows us to deep dive into one specific thing per Thursday episode.
Completely. But today is Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Okay, and so it means it's all about studying. So let's give some context to this. And today's title was, let's get our notes,
the
for 3 W's
for effortless revision.
So let's just reframe the word revision. Revision doesn't mean that you're going to be deep inside your books thinking about anatomy and physiology and muscle origins and insertions. Maybe you are.
Maybe you are.
Okay, but revision is, we could place the word studying in here, I think.
Yeah, and with revision, it also suggests that you've already learnt it once.
Well, that's a
because
great
it's about
point, isn't it?
Revising something you've already learnt.
Revision, I think, for fitness industry or training providers have missed the boat, and maybe that's us as well, in terms of I'm going to do revision. But revision is you on the basis you've already studied it before.
Yeah. So really, it's study and revision.
So we've got to study it to go and revise it.
Yeah. So whether you are revising stuff you've already learned or whether you are learning something for the first time, the things we're going to give you today are going to help that become effortless.
You do need these 3 things.
Yes, these 3 W's.
These 3 W's. So let's give the 3 W's out straight away, okay? And let's dissect them as we go.
So the 3 W's for effortless revision are literally what, when, and why.
You're like, oh, really? I knew that.
There you go. But it's the context of what we're going to now lay out inside each of these that will make a massive difference to how you're revising and how you're studying.
Well, let's start with the first one, which is what. Okay, so I think that's where a lot of, not just FitPros, but anybody studying or revising anything struggles because they don't truly know what it is they're revising or what's expected of them at the end result.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could use for what in different contexts here. So what is it I'm going to study today? And what is it about this study today that leads me to the very thing of what they want me to achieve at the end of this?
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Okay.
So what is today's session and what's the long-term session?
And what's the long-term's outcome of what I'm being assessed on, that I'm being tested on? Is it an exam? Is it a theory? Is it a practical? But what is it about that I'm being tested on, of what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't start their study session with enough clarity of what it is they're studying. So having a very clear aim and a very clear objective. So your aim is what is it you're going to study, or what is it you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay. And your objective is how you're going about doing that.
Perfect.
That suits your learning style. Are you a visual, or you auditory, or a kinesthetic? And so I want you to consider this is, the vast majority of people listening to today's FitPro session are in fitness. You would never go into the gym, into a boot camp, out for a run, out into the park, into your spare living room, into your garage to do a workout without a plan.
True. Yeah.
So
even if it's rough in your head,
even if
still
it's rough
go
up
and
here,
do
you
it.
know what it is you're going to do. You know what route you're going to take on your run. You know what you're going to, you know what route you're going to take in the car to get to your gym. You know your route around the gym. You know exactly what sets, reps, tempo, time, all of the things you're going to do, what exercises you enjoy, what exercises you dislike. You know what machines you like, particularly in the gym, or what space you like. You know what treadmill is for the treadmill. You know the what about it, of like, it's by the corner, it's by the...
I do this program and I have this speed
completely.
and I know what I'm going to do. Exactly.
And so we practice the
don't do
what in so many areas of life. It's like, what are we having for dinner tonight, Hayley? We know what we're having, okay? And the ins and outs
and you
to
know
it.
the what already before you go into it. Whereas I find a lot of the time with studies, when people feel lost or overwhelmed as to what they're doing, or if their studies are taking longer than they anticipated, is because they're literally going in, they open up the book where they left off, and they literally just follow through the next couple of pages. They don't necessarily know what they were going to study.
Well,
and
I think
that's
this
just
is
what turns up.
This is a failing of training providers, okay, and the educational system. Because and I've been victim to that as well, okay, and that's really the driving force behind Parallel, because you've got to know what it is you're studying and why you're studying it, which we're going to come on to the why in a minute.
Yeah.
But you can't just be expected to have a manual. You can't be expected to just suddenly start or know how to learn, know how to study, know how to revise. We're taught a particular topic or subject, but we're not taught how to actually study in the first place. They're two different conversations.
Really different conversations. I think it also starts though by understanding the bigger picture of it. So that you're not just going through like one thing after the other and following this random path that seems to be set out logically. But instead, when you first start studying, or if you're lost and you're partway through your studies, do this still. Get a big picture of what it is you need to do by the end point.
Yeah.
So we've often said on the podcast, start with the end in mind. You literally want to know what is the end point. Are you going to be handing in a portfolio? Are you going to be handing in worksheets? Are you going to be doing an exam? If so, how many questions? What kind of topics come up? What modules are there? So you need to have a bit of a lay of the land. You need to know where you're going with it so that you can then break it down in some logical pieces. Because you might look at the big picture and be like, actually, that's quite small. I only get like 15 questions in a worksheet for this section. I could do that in a couple of weeks.
Perfect.
Or
it's a great point.
You might look at it and go, I've got to complete a whole case study. This is going to take me 8 weeks to do, or 4 weeks to do. So you might change your time frame and what you do per session based on what the end outcome of it is.
And that's what I love about the revision boot camps, because you get a 4 and an 8 week plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That gives you that big picture.
Yes.
But
so you don't have to guess about what you're doing, and you don't have to go and find out what the modules
completely.
are. We just tell you.
Yeah, completely. But maybe you're not studying a particular qualification. Maybe you're just studying because you love studying. Maybe you're just learning and reading and absorbing information every week, or you try your best to do that every week. But there's no particular kind of like, what am I aiming towards?
Yes, and that's a little bit harder then, isn't it?
That's a little bit harder.
Big picture.
Completely.
And then breaking
but
it
maybe
down.
you're going to focus your what towards a particular theme or a particular subject or a particular group of inquiry questions.
Oh, I like that, because it's not just random stuff that you kind of scroll past and come
Well,
across.
it would be
and then go
easy
down that
to,
route.
let's take YouTube, for example. Okay, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, down the right hand side, you've got suggested videos, and at the end you'll have a suggested video based on keywords. Yeah. And now you could start off with your inquiry topic, let's just say FITPRO sessions, and then at the end of that, your keyword could end up on a completely different topic, and then you could go, that's actually quite interested, and before you know it, an hour's passed and you're on a surfer video, or you know what I mean, or a music video.
You go down a rabbit hole.
You go down a rabbit hole that doesn't necessarily serve you. And so maybe, you know, the what here is like, what is it that I want to have my inquiry about? What is my focus of today's particular session? And how does that fit into the overall what of my learning?
Yeah, and that might relate, if you're already a FITPRO working with clients, it might be that your client's experiencing a problem, or they have a particular need, or they've posed you a question. And that's the thing that you want to almost go into research mode around to learn. So it keeps you focused in answering that one thing. So you almost set yourself that outcome, that objective of answering a question.
Wicked.
I think that helps.
But you can't move forwards with this what if you don't know when you're going to do that, which is the next W. So the second W of, let's go back to the title, the 3 W's for effective revision.
Effortless revision.
Effortless revision.
Can't read my writing.
Yeah, completely. What did I say?
Effective.
Effective. Well, it could be effective, but it would be effortless as well. And now we're talking about when. And I think this is key, because so many people start the week and they have a rough idea of they would like to revise.
Nice.
And so it comes down to, I think, language, use of language here. Like I'd really like to revise, or I aim to revise, or I'm going to try to revise, or I'm planning on studying on Thursday, as opposed to clearly getting out a diary, maybe that be pen and paper or electronic on your phone or iPad, and clearly blocking out time and saying, this is my study time, this is my revision time, and letting every other significant person around you know that this is the time that you are going to study.
I think that's key, when you said, like, let others know. They don't know unless you tell them. Else they're going to be like, oh, do you want to come and do this at this time? Can you go and do this at this time? Instead, you'll be like, this is when I'm studying. Make sure, not just make sure I do it, but like, that's when I'm studying. Everything else can fit around.
The when has to go. What gets diarised gets done, and that's a classic Tony Robbins quote that I remember him saying when we went back to see him in like 2012-13. What gets diarised gets done. Okay, and if it's in the diary, it places a lot more authority over your mindset, because we don't like to let our diary down. We have accountability to our diary. So what gets diarised gets done. But it's also key to now, you've placed it in, but now other people can clearly say, well, I don't know, for example, Hayley's going to be studying, let's just say Tuesday 4 o'clock, Thursday 12 o'clock, and Saturday 9 o'clock in the morning. Now I can clearly see that, so I now know not to give Hayley or ask anything of Hayley in those times.
So you could do things that you need to do on your own in those
Completely,
times.
because if we don't look after our own diary, we don't look after and save our own time, other people will pinch that time from us.
Yeah, and not in a bad way.
I don't mean it in a malicious or bad way, but we either we run the diary, or the diary runs us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so having a very clear when is absolutely key. So starting your week, maybe you're going to start your week on a Monday and get your diary fully locked down. Or maybe you're going to review it on a Sunday and go, well, what worked well last week in my diary, okay? And move that and bring it forwards to this week in my diary. But also, what didn't work too well last week? What was a stress? What was a struggle? What was overwhelming? Did I plan too much? Did I not get everything done? Do I need to bring tasks forward? And being a manager of your life.
I like that.
Because at the end of the day, sorry to jump in, as FITPROs, we manage other people.
Yeah, it's true.
We manage their... and hold them accountable and coach them in the conversation of fitness, nutrition and mindset.
You hold them accountable.
We need to do the same to ourselves. Yeah. And I see it so often as FITPROs fall victim to their own, what's the thing I'm looking for? Like their own knowledge.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So they're not doing the things that they do for others.
Completely.
Yeah.
We're telling and guiding and coaching and preaching this approach to health, fitness and nutrition, yet we're not practicing what we're preaching.
Yeah, and part of understanding the when comes down to priorities and consequences.
Yes.
So,
cool. I like this.
So partly with priorities is that it's about making it the priority to get it done that week or in the time frame you said. So rather than, like you said, of like, at some point this week I'll do it, if something else becomes that you perceive to be a higher priority, then you won't do it. Full stop. Whether that actually is a higher priority or not is irrelevant. But if you perceive it to be in that moment, then you won't do the revision or the study. And the other part of it is consequence. If there is no consequence to whether you do or don't do it, other than say feeling guilty or feeling like you've got to start again, like that's not really enough of a consequence.
No, because we experience those emotions and we pent those emotions up weekly anyway on many other areas of life. So there's no real consequence to that.
And I've started adding this into when we've been coaching for the specialist qualifications that we've been doing. And those...
So it would be like exercise referrals, level 4.
Supporting clients with long-term conditions.
Completely.
So all of these tasks that they need to do each week, we're allowing people to now create consequences for the tasks they say they're going to complete each week. So if you don't do the task...
What is the consequence of not taking action?
So one lady, for example, said, I can't watch my favourite show at the end of the week that's on a Sunday night.
I'm not sure if that's a consequence.
But it becomes something that starts to outweigh it so that you have some more motive alongside to do it.
Maybe,
Which can be quite, for some people, especially if you're an away from person, can work really well.
Maybe that's why.
If you're more of a towards person like Neil, it would be like, if I get this done, then I will be able to do something else.
My approach would be like, what is the consequence to taking action?
Oh, nice. There you go.
That's the approach I'd take. The consequence to taking action, and what would I get from having those new consequences in my world?
I like that. That's nice. Yeah, so consider maybe your priorities and your consequence in choosing the right time.
The other side of timing and when is understanding when you thrive inside study.
Yeah.
Okay, so I study and I listen to an audiobook or a podcast first thing in the morning on a morning walk.
Yeah.
And my brain is totally relaxed. I don't have anything else going on in that day. I've barely said 2 words to myself, let alone anyone else. That I get up and I go straight out for my morning walk and I plug and play and I listen. And then as the day unfolds, late morning is another time point for me where I'll go and learn something and immediately take action on that inside parallel. Yeah. So it's knowing when you are more open to learning yourself.
Yeah, what's a good time for you?
What's a good time? And that's, again, the beginning of a week, blocking this time out and saying, I've historically studied in an evening once the kids have gone to bed, for example, and it doesn't ever feel right. I never seem to be able to remember things. It always seems to be hard work, laborious, tiresome. And now you have this, unhealthy relationship with studying and revising. Whereas it might be that you study, let's just say late morning, and you think, well, I'm at work, I can't study late morning. You think, right, I'm going to spend the first 15, 20 minutes of my lunch break or my lunch hour doing some study. Yeah. And so to start off with, you might think, well, the consequences are I missed out on a lunch break. But the consequences to taking action, what you learn in that 15, 20 minutes at the beginning of your lunch break, far outweigh everything of your study or all of a study that you'd have done that evening. Yeah. So you might spend an hour and a half banging your head against...
you basically gain time.
You gain time. So you might be banging your head against the brick wall, your manual, your clunky online learning of an evening, going, this isn't going in. Yet for a simple 15, 20 minutes, late morning or an early lunch break, you think, bam, it's in the head. And that's when I'm more open and accustomed to studying and revising.
That's smart. So we've had the what and we've had the when.
Yep.
And then that all pieces together to bring into the why.
Which is the third W of the 3 W's for effortless revision.
My handwriting is that bad.
So we've had 4 weeks off and Hayley's handwriting has become worse than a GP's. No offence to GPs.
So with the why, if you're really clear on why you're doing your studies, which I think falls into what we've said with the what and the when already. If you've got those parts, the why should be quite straightforward as to what you do. But if you're clear on your why, then it stops it from becoming just a process.
Completely.
And if you lose your why, then it just becomes a thing on your to-do list that you do. It's like a chore. It's like taking out out the bins.
Yeah, completely. It's like taking out.
It becomes this thing that you have to do
every Tuesday.
And do you put your
completely.
energy into that? Do you put your oomph into it? Do you put, like you say, the best time of day into it, your best resources into it? Maybe not if it's just a process. You just go through the motions.
The thing is, when your why is like top of mind, tip of tongue, it never feels like you have to have like the what or the when almost in place. Yeah. Does that make sense? For me anyway? Like, I know what it is I'm going to study, okay? And I know when I'm going to study it. But if my why is really vibrant and I really deep down know why this is going to benefit me, why this is going to benefit you, or why it's going to benefit whoever it might be, I'm like, I could do it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
An example of this is last night. I'm doing this online course, okay, just around Canva. And if you look at it from anyone looking from the outside in would be like, it sounds odd. It looks and appears quite strange. You're learning like real intricate, like nuts and bolts of tactics inside an online
like software
editing software tool, and you're just like, this is kind of bizarre, but my why of the bigger picture of what this leads to is far greater. So I can sit there at literally any time of day, okay, I know what it is I'm heading towards, and my why is just like, bam, let's go, let's go. If there's no reason for me not to take action.
Yeah.
It literally top trumps so many other things in my world.
Like, you're like, oh, shall we sit and watch TV? Oh no, I'm going to do this.
I find myself like gravitating towards the why,
it's
because
much more exciting because I like the why.
And even though other people around me, like you sat there last night and were like, this is a little bit strange. Yeah, I'm literally engrossed. Like, I can't get enough of this because it's literally meeting my needs of my why. Maybe we could do a FITPRO session on the 6 human needs from Tony Robbins.
That would be good.
That would be great.
That would be wicked.
Because if we know what needs we want to meet or we need to meet, your why just becomes effortless.
Yeah, I like that. And it's all about the outcome
rather
than about the process. And I think that's what is really exciting about it. And it also means that you can keep it exciting and you can keep committed to it because you know your why.
Why are you doing the studying? Why are you learning anatomy? Why are you understanding origins and insertions? Not just so you can pass an exam, like, why do you need to know this, and why is it going to help you become a better FITPRO? What is it about this? What is it about this knowledge that you're going to take and have a nice, clear link? It's not a tedious link; it's a clear link to say, well, I need to know the origin and insertion of this muscle because it benefits my planning over here. And when I have a particular client with this particular problem, I can help them over here. And then when this particular client goes from A to B and gets the transformation, and they experience this, that's what I get as well. Boom. Knowing this knowledge. Why do I need to know this? And how do I link that to the final end outcome of a transformation that you and your client get?
Yeah, exactly.
And when you can clearly link your why to that, you're like, I've got enough fuel in my engine now to last me a lifetime.
Yes, I like that because it kind of fuels it.
Completely.
Really, really
the why is the fuel. And I think so many FITPROs or so many businesses or so many people learning to study doesn't mean, we got a number of people that listen to this that are doing their GCSEs, that are doing their A-levels, okay? You're going through this process of like, I'm going to do my study today, and it's almost like a spaceship taking off, and you've got this thruster that only has a certain amount of fuel that gets you to a certain distance out of the hemisphere, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, before the fuel runs out, okay? And it's just not enough fuel to keep you going. Whereas when you've got your why and you know why you're doing this, and you've linked your why to your end outcome or your client's end outcome as well, you're like, it doesn't matter how much thruster fuel runs out, I've got enough why fuel to keep me going.
I love that. That's wicked.
Do you know what I mean?
Really, really smart. And they all combine together. So the 3 W's don't occur necessarily one in front of the other in front of the other. They're not necessarily a step. The what, the when, and the why are important, and you need all 3 of them interrelated.
For me, I would go why, what, when.
Nice.
Because if I've got a big enough why, I got enough why fuel to keep going. Now I know why I'm doing it. I now know what I'm going to focus on and when I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But you might go when, why, what, or what, when,
and what.
You get, so it doesn't matter which order you do it in.
No, it doesn't at all. So start off somewhere, go between all 3 of the W's, and make sure you clearly understand what it is you're studying, when you're going to study, and why you're going to be doing that studying. And this will unstick you wherever you are stuck. So whether you are stuck at the very beginning of your studies, looking forwards, going, I don't even know where to get started and I feel overwhelmed, or whether you're maybe a little way in, you've taken a little hiatus, or you've hit a stumbling block and you've stopped, the best way to restart is to come back to these three W's straight away.
Because immediately you're just going to find clarity amongst all this chaos, or this unknown, or this overwhelm of like, okay, I'm stuck. I don't really know how to move forwards. I've lost an element of my Y fuel, and now you put that Y fuel back in, and you're like, actually, that's what I was missing. That was for one of the W's. And you might think, actually, I know why I'm doing this. I just don't have enough what am I doing this session? What is my aim this session? What is my objective? How am I going to do it this session? Am I going to use books? Am I going to use audio? Am I going to go for a walk? Am I going to use video? Am I going to sit down and complete a particular set of mock questions or achieve? What is it you're actually going to do?
And then the when, rather than going, I know this is everything I need to do, but when on earth will I fit it in? Make a space for it.
Let's just go back to that when, because I think that you've kicked up another thought for me. Was a lot of people turn around and say, I'm really, really busy. I'm super busy. I've got this on, I've got that on. I've got to do this with the kids. I've got to go over there. You've got to see the family. You've got to see to work. You've got to walk the dog. And I want you to consider that the moment you diarize it, okay, you actually give yourself more freedom, because rather than freedom up here in the brain, rather than add another kind of plate to spin and go, I don't know when I'm going to do this.
Or I have to remember
to go and do it. You literally park it in your diary and say, right, this is when I'm going to do it. It's blocked out, okay? And now you don't have to think about when you're going to revise. You just know that when it gets to Tuesday at 4 o'clock, because that's when you've diarised it, or Thursday at 9 o'clock, that's when you've diarised it. That's when you do it. And I want you to consider that actually, if you're really busy and overwhelmed and you don't know when you're going to fit things in, the diary or blocking things out or having blocks of time to associate it to particular tasks throughout your day actually gives you more freedom than flying by the seat of your pants and constantly saying, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Because actually you get to the end of the day having done just a few things and nothing that was of any value, of priority, of importance. I want you to focus on moving forwards and consider that the diary will liberate your day and hold you accountable to particular time slots.
I use my diary loads for things like that. Literally, when Neil goes, we need to remember to do that, I literally put a little space in my diary. Even if when I get to the day, I need to just jiggle the the times around, it's okay. I know it's getting done that day. I know it's got its space.
Let's just focus one more thing on this what, why, and when. Just because you've diarised it and you know what it is you're going to do and you know when you're going to do it by and you know why, you've got enough Y fuel to go and do it, doesn't necessarily mean it has to all get done in that time frame. I think we hold really high expectations of ourselves to say, right, I'm going to learn muscles or origins and insertions. I'm going to read up on this for business, whatever it might be. And then, your 45 minutes goes through and you're like, well, I thought I'd have got more done in that time. Or I can't stop now because I still want to complete X, Y, and Z.
I've not finished it.
Whereas with block time of when, if you've blocked an hour out, you do your hour, at roughly 50 minutes, you start to wind down, you start to review what you've done, you extract your 3 to 5 key learning points, you review that session of what worked well, and you close your books in spite of completion.
And you plan what you want to do for your next session. Now you might now go, oh God, I didn't complete everything I wanted, so I'll put in another session. What did work well was the time of day. I'll put in another session tomorrow, same kind of time of day.
Perfect.
And then you still only have committed to the same time frame, you just stuck in another frequency.
There we go. Yeah, completely. Which comes back to fit. Out of the 3 W's, which ones are what order would you go in, or what one is
I would probably
key
start
for you?
with what, because I just that type of person. I'd probably start with what, then I'd know what my when is and when I'm going to do it, and then I would go to my why so that I can get excited about going and doing that what and the when. That's probably the way I would do it, whereas I know you would start with a why.
I'm a complete opposite to you.
You'd go why,
Which
when,
is why
what.
opposites attract.
And why it works.
Completely, because quite often when I know just my why, the what and the when almost become irrelevant.
Yeah.
I'm just there's enough fuel there.
But I like to see the context of what I need to do before I can imagine how that relates to my why.
So what I want you to do today, okay, is to spend just a short amount of time. I'm not asking for hours of your diary. I'm literally talking. This takes a couple of minutes at tops. So you don't need to write anything down. You can literally make a cup of coffee, look out your kitchen window, and ponder this thought of like, what is it I'm working towards right now? Okay, and am I driven by my what, my when, and my why? Which one of those 3 W's am I drawn to starting with? But also, the study or revision that I'm doing right now, what one of those 3 W's is missing? What one needs a little bit of attention? Is it your what, your aim, your objective? Is it your when, or is it your jet fuel why? And I guarantee that if you get these 3 W's in place, or even just spend a little bit of time, energy, and effort to nurture just one of them that might be missing, your revision, your study will become effortless.
Yeah, exactly. So go and plan out your what, why, and when. Start in the place that works for you, and know that this will help you get unstuck or get started in your studies and your revision.
Bam! Which brings us to the end of today's FITPRO session.
It will.
Okay, we will see you bright and breezy on Thursday morning. Where
episode 2.
Episode number 2. So it's almost like episode 1 and 1 each week, isn't it? And then next week is like 2 and 2. So like episode...
All the odd numbers will be more revision related. All the even numbers will be
related.
More,
just more FITPRO related. If you have enjoyed today's episode, make sure you're inside the Parallel Coaching Inner Circle on Facebook, okay? Which there's links around this video or whatever page or app you're in to go and click through to. Outside of that, if you're listening in iTunes, the number one thing that drives this podcast is your reviews. If you haven't done so already, go over to iTunes, scroll down, just leave us a quick 5-star review. You don't need to even write anything, just 5 stars. Bam, let iTunes know that Parallel Coaching and FITPRO sessions mean business, and we will see you bright and breezy in a couple of days' time. See you later.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FITPRO doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support, and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify, and kickstart as a FITPRO? This is the FITPRO Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.